Okay, hello everyone. It is Kenyon here, Basketball Rewind. Different day, but it's the same day. So, don't worry, folks. We don't just stay here with the lights off and you know, we're okay. Um, Today it's draft talk, and we are here to talk about Jakučionis. So, without a further ado, we're stacking up these draft talk videos. I actually already did the Malwatch video, so that is already done. We've talked about Malwatch actually quite a lot, to be honest. To be fair, so even though and we will probably still talk about Malwatch again. Yeah, Jakučionis, just to get into it, I mean, he's a very interesting one. Now, the way I look at it is Jakučionis is the type of pick where he is not a top four pick, in my opinion. He will be a potential option at, for the Raptors if we do not move up, along with other picks. Now, after watching him and others, I am, full disclosure, I have been swayed by others that I have watched. However, in terms of Jakučionis, he is interesting because he provides a potential decision maker on the floor in the future who can basically get his own offense and initiate offense. And that is something that's lacking from the guard spot. He's 6'6". I am going to ignore the weight measurements for now. It will be on screen more than likely, but say he's like, 190 or 185 or whatever the heck it is. He's not super skinny, is my point. So I'm probably like lowering him. Probably, let's say 6'6", 200, I think is safe. He can definitely get his own shot. He is not what I would call a shooter. He is not Grady in that sense where everyone says, oh, is he just a shooter or whatever? No, he is a scorer. He is a prober. So he likes to probe, weave in and out. He gets himself sometimes into trouble, but he has the handle to get out. He does not pick up his dribble. And then from there, while the decision making does have to get a little bit better because he does have certain situations where he is taking earlier shots than I would like in a shot clock, I do think that he is able to execute it at a reasonable rate, and I do see it being working out well. And I do think that his role, when scaled down, when pared down, will be doing well in the NBA. Coach, I'm going to go to you. Then Biana, we're going to go with you, just to start off that discussion. Your guys' thoughts on Jakučionis?
I like big point guards, and you said he's about 200 pounds now on Tankathon. They have about 205. To me, he looks like he could be about 210, 215. Like he's
Okay.
strong
Yeah.
just the way that I kind of see him on the floor. Now he's pretty steady. He's solid. I don't think he has particularly any major weaknesses. Maybe outside of turnovers. I think the turnovers can sometimes be an issue for him, but we know he can score. We know he can grab rebounds. The assist numbers are pretty good for a point guard in college. They'll go up in the NBA. I think for most of the year, he was around 36, 37% three-point shooter. Now that has gone down. He didn't have the best February. Let's just put it that way. January, February, he kind of took a bit of a step back. But I always look at what have you done for me in the big games? So against Tennessee, he had 22 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 10 to 14 from the free throw line. Okay. We have a problem on this team doing what? Making free throws. We're not a good free throw shooting team when we come to the Raptors. He's 85%. He's pretty much a safe bet to make some free throws. And watching him play against Xavier a few days ago, 16 points, 10 assists, and 9 rebounds. Basically a triple double. Played 37 minutes, 9 of 9 from the free throw line. When I watch him against smaller guards, he does a good job at using his strength, recognizing mismatches, and using his body. I think he's going to be a point guard at the next level. I also think he can play off guard as well. I remember Rivas Vasquez with the Raptors somewhat had this role a little bit. He was a big point guard. I don't think he had the strength or the speed or the shooting ability of Jakučionis. And to be fair to him, not the talent as well. But with big point guards, they're so interchangeable where you can play him at point or you can play him off guard as well. So I have Jakučionis basically anywhere from 6 to 8 in the draft right now. I could see him going 5, depending on who the team is. But he's a good young player. Big guards, as Beyond said, hard to go wrong with big guards when, especially if you have a smaller team.
Yeah. I like him a lot. I still like him a lot. I mean, he's in the next level, right? If we move Malawatch to that next group, Malawatch kind of his own group. To be honest with you,
Yeah, yeah, it's like 1B, and
yeah,
then
yeah.
tier 2.
Malawatch, and then there's this group that we're talking about here. We already discussed. I'm sure it'll be posted soon.
I know some people are trying to move him up to 1. He ain't there, but yeah.
Trey, Kasparas is here. I think coach's man Queen's in this group.
Fears too. I'd put Fears in that group.
And I think
there's one other person that I think that should be.
From Georgia in this case is also in this mix a little bit.
Yes.
I know.
Newell, in my opinion, I actually have him in this group.
I do too. I think he's actually a fun prospect. I like him a little bit better than some other prospects as well too. But since today is Kasparas' day, I enjoy watching him play because he reminds me a bit. He has a lot of don't kill me on the comp, but I'm not saying he's going to be this. I'm not saying he's going to be a Hall of Famer and Rookie of the Year. All I'm saying, he has a lot of Jason Kidd in it when I watch him.
Yeah.
Kid 6'5". I think Kidd was pushing about 205 when he came out of California. He's got a little razzle dazzle, not as much as Kidd. No one's like Kidd in the open court, but he
does like to try things, which I like.
Yes, he does like to try things. Obviously a better shooter than Kidd was coming out of college from the deep. He gets the hoop. He's a physical guard, which I like, which we don't have a lot of physicality on this team. I like that a lot. He's not frightened to go with the hoop. I said so last week, talk about getting tough buckets. That's what I like to see. He's going to draw contact. Also, by the way, man, hey, man, Riley, man, start with the bounce of the ball, man. You cost your man a triple-double, man. You're bouncing that ball for that one easy layup. Come on now. We'll get to Riley a little later on in the spring. But, yeah, I think I like his size, I like the physicality. I think he's decent on defense. He's not anything that I think he's going to be something he's going to be, and especially on the Raptors, man. He's going to look like the next coming in this case here of Michael Jordan on defense on this team on the perimeter. Based on what we have so far, so we'll be straight on that front. But I like him a lot. I like how he can see the court. I like his vision. We don't have any natural playmakers really as much as other people like to put that on other folks. I don't think we do. And I think if we end up with some scenario where we're in the position we're in now, and we're like 6 or 7, and that was the pick, I'll drink a nice cool shot of something and I'll feel happy about it, man. I was like, all right, I can sit here next year for 82 games and watch this. I'm good. And I think it's the right move for the future of the point guard spot. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's been some discussion on Shed recently and others, and I think Shed has kind of like carved out a role. But I mean, to me, I think sometimes not every position, but some positions, it's nice to have 3 at. I think ultimately Shed could be a third guard or a first guard.
Who am I talking about? Just to make.
Oh, I know. I'm getting to that. But I was just saying next year, like let's keep it a buck. IQ's not going anywhere. Just money wise or anything, he's not going anywhere. Because unless he plays his way into that, I don't know who's going to take him.
Yeah.
Unless there's an expansion draft next year, which I don't see for another year or 2.
Well,
so, yeah.
And, I mean, I'm not hoping this for anything in this case here, but I got to be honest about it. Quickly has proven throughout his career he's not the healthiest guy.
So that's a whole other discussion, but that's still not you trading the dude.
No, but what I'm saying is,
what
I'm saying this is how you lead to folks getting traded.
Yes, yeah. Because if a person is always
hurt,
best ability is availability, and if a person's not there at some point, it's like we gotta keep it moving without you.
Right. Because let's face it, if you get picked in the top 10, you're a starter. I'm sorry, folks.
Yeah.
Most likely you're a starter.
If not now, very soon. Maybe not on day 1, but within the first half of the season, you are usually carving out a role, unless that team is really a really standout team, like we're talking like a contender.
Right, like OKC in this case here. Like all said and done, if you're the 6th or 7th pick in a draft, let me tell you something. You're starting actually on day 1, if not by halfway through the season, you're starting. Most
Yeah,
times.
in most cases, yeah. So or at least getting real serious minutes. So yeah, I mean, he's gonna get minutes, and there are minutes to be had at the guard spot. Now I know everyone's talking about the small forward and shooting guard, but I think as a point guard, there's nothing wrong with having a big point guard. He has positional size on both ends of the ball, and I think again, he gets to the lane. He needs to work on his mid range. His mid range is something that needs like he has the footwork, he has the handle to get into
Oh,
those spots. But
well, Kenny, what you have to worry about on this team because everybody else is in the mid range.
that's true. But he can operate from the perimeter for sure, and he can operate at the uh, he gets to the rim enough for me. So I think that's really what matters. And he has enough craft to kind of figure it out there. The shooting splits, don't really always pop out if you ignore the free throw because the free throw numbers are great. Sometimes people have said, "Oh, he's not really. Well, he's not really there to be the shooter. He's not Grady. He's not a Con Knipple. He's a play initiator, not a play finisher in a sense. So you have to look at him through those lenses and stick to that. You can't apply the same lens of role of one person to every single person. Now, him versus Harper is a very interesting discussion. He does lack a little bit of a first step, so I will say that. Yeah, that's a good place. But actually, wait, before I go into that, I'll just make mention to the defense. He has posted a positive box plus minus defensively. He's a he knows where to be, like positionally he's fine, but his defense is not really anything to write home about. So it is like the area for improvement in his game, I think. But he does have the size and the positional wherewithal to be able to kind of like get there. Yeah, Harper versus I have two kind of discussions. Harper versus him, and then if we have time, the are we underrating or overrating athleticism over craft, which we can kind of mix into one. So yeah, I don't know who wants to take that. If anyone wants to take that as first, if not,
What's the context of Harper versus him? If you're the
I'm
Raptors,
just because if people are like narrowing it down to just a big guard, personally, I don't. I think it's looking at it too narrow. But like if you're just looking at it as you get a big guard, because some people like the simplistic like hey you get a big guard.
depends what you want. If I'm looking at someone who's going to run my offense more, I prefer the Jakučionis.
Yeah, I think Harper's a better defender.
Yeah, better defender, a much more explosive offensive player.
Yeah.
Like I mean, that's just
like I think Harper in the league could give you 40 on some nights.
Oh, of course, yeah.
I don't know if I would rely bank on. Yeah, I'm sure Jakučionis could do it, but like I wouldn't. If I'm gonna bank on one or the other, it's gonna be Harper.
Exactly right, and that's the difference between a guy in this case that you're now centering the franchise around, or a guy is just fitting into the franchise.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's fit in where. Yeah, we keep going with that, and yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I think Harper has different expectations too than Jakučionis. Harper's got, we draft you, we expect perennial all-star, probably all NBA teams sometimes. Jakučionis, I
He's a
think
0.5 offense guy.
Jakučionis, a good starter. Maybe there's an all-star appearance or two in there. I'm just going by the expectations that we won't really know till we see. But
I mean, like your question about craft versus athleticism. I mean, I don't think it's like mutually exclusive. Like you need one or the other. Obviously, we know great players that combine both of them. Are you saying in this case which one you prefer if you had to have like one or the other?
No, it's just like, are you overrating or underrating? Like some people seem to overrate, or are they underrating athleticism versus craft?
It's hard to say because it's like you could overrate athleticism if the guy doesn't have enough craft, right? So and it works the other way. If a guy has a lot of craft, but in this case here is like what he's lead-footed in this case here, and he's gonna get beat on every he's get blown by every time. Doesn't matter how crafty he is,
right?
Right.
Or so even there's an upper limit to like what craft will give you on the offensive end too.
And my theory's always been is that for you to get away for craft and end up being essentially one of the best players on the floor in deep playoff times, your craft has to be so exceptional that it overcompensates the athleticism. And I
Yeah.
said before, there's been like 2 or 3 guys in NBA history that have done that. One guy played for the Shamrock, and the other guy's playing right now in the Bay. Where it's like
True.
their athleticism is not what got them over the hump. Is that their skill and craft was so out of this world. Heck, you just did it last night by shooting from the bleachers. In this case, last night. Before
Right.
like your craft is so exceptional that it overcompensates for the lack of athleticism. That's where it shines, and you're not going to get that from many players in this case coming out in the draft. Like that's
Right.
rare. More times you get the other way, but you're not getting it this way.
I have
Here's
one
one
last
thing.
question after Coach goes.
Oh, so
Yeah, no, no.
one thing I've noticed with him is that he works well with a pick and pop big. Put him on the Raptors. He's going to do that with Pirtle? No. And quite honestly, we've seen Scotty shoot 28% from three, which unless Scotty's going to improve that part of the game, that's going to be tough to work for him too. So
Well,
he
can
needs to go
Scotty
to it.
pop into the mid range?
Yeah, that
He has
part.
to
But
be a
I'm
better
just thinking of
screener, but like,
but eventually you're going to need him to work with a guy who can stretch the floor. So I want to see him go to a team. If I really want to see him successful, to go to a team where the big's able to stretch the three or a couple of the bigs. He works well with Ivizic. I probably apologize to his family, but they do have a really good tandem at Illinois right now. Like he needs Sam Perkins right next to him. Laugh about that.
Man, no doubt.
Yeah. Yeah. He needs that standstill big. Like put Jakučionis in Milwaukee with Brook Lopez. It would look fantastic. Put him with Pirtle. Might look good in the mid range, might look good underneath, but on the roll, but he needs that pick and pop big.
It made my day there, Coach, man. Good Tar Heel, man. Sleepy Sam, no doubt.
You made me think, because it's, anyways, that's a discussion for another day, but Pirtle does make things interesting.
Right, because Coach's point there, because you mentioned about, put Scotty in the post, but here's the problem. Because no one in the Raptors commands a double team, even in the post, a guy like him, as you said before, whose first step is not the greatest, you're now struggling now to try to find a way to make advantages, in this case, for teammates that can't make advantages.
Yeah, because if Jakučionis also doesn't have the best first step. Ingram's first step is decent, but even Ingram's first step is not, I mean, come on, it's not.
No.
Like, Ingram is a craft dude.
Right. And that's the reason why the top 4 pick is so important, because the top 4 guys, that is not a discussion.
Yeah. Okay, final question, then we'll get out of here really quickly, which will bring us to the close. This is kind of, I'll give credit to, I was having a discussion with Mouth of the North, shout out to him, and he was asking me, we were talking about Jakučionis. He was talking about who he would take over Jakučionis. My question is, would you guys take Con Knipple over Jakučionis?
I'll make that quick, no.
Okay.
I wouldn't either.
Care to just elaborate in like 15 seconds why?
Going back to our discussion about athleticism, I think he's a better athlete than Con Knipple, I think, personally. Yeah. I think also, too, he has more options to his game that you can kind of unearth in this case here than Con Knipple.
Yeah.
So those 2 reasons alone, that I would say. And there's also, no disrespect, I think Knipple, I don't want to say Knipple doesn't have a certain toughness, but there's an edge that I think Jakučionis plays with that kind of like that. It's hard to describe, and it's not necessarily a shot at Knipple. I think Knipple plays hard and stuff like that too, but there's an edge that
I think if you're just focusing on the box score, Knipple wins it because like there's an efficiency aspect there with taking out all other context of like who's actually initiating the offense and who's actually the alpha and omega of their team. Exactly. Yeah.
My efficient receiver might be pretty good too. The 7'2" dude that cleans up everything around me.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just, I think that there's just, when you contextualize things, that it gives a deeper thing. I would say I lean towards Jakučionis. He's someone that I wouldn't mind the Raptors getting.
You asked the question, but I think it's the wrong players in my opinion.
Yes,
because if you're a team out there,
I agree.
You going to choose Jakučionis, or you going to choose Jeremiah Fears because they have 2 different games.
Yes. So that is the more pertinent question, I think, here.
That might be a debate for another time.
That's another debate for another time because we got to get out of here. I lean towards Fears, and I'll leave it at that.
He's
But
number 5 on my big board for a reason, but I'll leave it there too.
yeah, shout out to Yegor, who is doing his thing as well. So I guess if you want a big point guard,
We're getting to him.
we are getting to him. So yeah, without a further ado, like, comment, subscribe. Someone asked us about, or asked, put a thing in a chat about, I think Clifford as well. So
Meek Clifford as
Um,
Tyler's guy.
yeah, so we're gonna get through as many of these as possible. Probably not through everyone. One final thing. I heard someone suggest that we should get a pick that helps the coach to be able to communicate. If the coach is a big boy, if he can't communicate with people, why are you asking a player who's also trying to learn his craft to come in to help be a translator? Like, what is this, Bruno Caboclo or some nonsense with Bebe?
Pretty sure Jakučionis speaks English.
Yeah, no. They're not talking about Jakučionis. They're talking about Darko.
Darko can't even figure out
Coach's blank stare says everything.
Darko can't even figure out the replay system. Okay, like, please, man, like, give me a break.
Like, if this man needs come on, bro. I'll leave it at that. Without further ado, like, comment, subscribe. If there's someone that you want us to cover, I know Colin Murray Boyle has been talked about, which he does deserve shout, but I did saw someone say that he's Barkley. Pump the brakes on that. I will get out of here. Take care, people, and peace.